Get ready for an exciting ride on the Palantir train. The stock has surged a jaw-dropping 20% in the past month, and investors are buzzing with excitement. But can the momentum hold? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to MarketBeat's YouTube channel. Chris and I are talking about Palantir today. The stock is up over 20% in the past month. Chris, it seems like the stock is just not slowing down. So what's going on here?
Well, there's a lot of things going on with Palantir, and one of the more encouraging things for investors is that Palantir continues to announce that they're getting different contracts, both on the government side of the business and also on the commercial side of the business. But the big news this week, which many investors already know about, is that Wedbush analyst Dan Ives initiated his coverage on Palantir. He gave the stock an outperform rating with a $25 price target. So that is what's getting investors very optimistic about the stock, especially for those that maybe didn't get in on the stock before the last earnings report when it really took off.
So Chris, obviously every company nowadays, they're trying to promote AI in any way that they can. It's kind of become this sort of buzzword that's attracting investors. But at the same time, I think investors are starting to get a little bit suspicious with that. I mean, everyone's talking about it.
Right.
So
right.
Is there a driver for Palantir stock other than AI that we can be looking at?
So the thing about Palantir was it went public via direct listing in, I think, 2020, if I remember right. And there were a lot of terms thrown around about when it came to Palantir. It was about big data. It was about this. It was about that. Really, it's always been about AI. Mm-hmm. Palantir was doing AI before anyone was really talking about AI. And now that everyone is talking about AI, analysts and investors like Dan Ives are appreciating the fact that Palantir may still be undiscovered as an AI play. There was something about Dan Ives said in his commentary that I thought was really interesting. He said, if you're an enterprise CEO looking for an AI platform, Palantir is potentially the first call. I mean, that's something that investors have to think about.
Something to think about for sure. So it kind of sounds to me like the undiscovered status can be both a blessing and a curse, or a blessing and a challenge for the company in this case. But Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Palantir reports earnings next week. So I want to know, should investors be buying or selling? I mean, I think that Ives' enthusiasm and the sharp gains, it suggests that maybe there is room to run. But what do you think about making moves so close to earnings report?
Well, you left out one option, Lacey, which is
what was that?
You don't have to, which is to do nothing. And Kate Stalter wrote for MarketBeat this week. She wrote about Palantir. She reminded investors that investing around earnings season is always tricky because stocks can move one way or the other for not a lot of reason other than there just is a lot of volume in the stock. Here's why I'm hesitant to be buying Palantir heading into earnings. And that's just because expectations are so high. A couple weeks ago, I know we were talking about Tesla, and I said anything short of a grand slam was going to send the stock lower. It's the same thing with Palantir. The expectations are so high that there's likely to be a pullback unless Palantir blows it out of the park. The one number that I would be looking for with Palantir, the one data point I should say that I'd be looking for is that they have positive earnings, that they're growing, because that's what the CEO, Alex Karp, that's what he said. We are going to have positive earnings going forward. If they hit that, that's a key thing that I'm going to be looking for. But other than that, I would be concerned about buying going into earnings because the expectations are so high. But having said that, you could look for a price target that you like. And then you could just simply buy the stock if it hits that point. But to your point, what if the stock goes up after earnings and investors start feeling a little bit of FOMO?
That dang FOMO.
Yeah, one thing that Kate suggested was that you set your price target for about 5% above where the stock price moves in the first 5 minutes after it gaps up. And that would limit your exposure if the stock goes down really sharply after earnings or after it gaps up. But it's still a way to get in on the stock. But again, I think right now with Palantir, a really good piece of advice would be sit tight, wait for the company to report earnings, let the stock settle a little bit, and then figure out. You're not going to be missing out on it if it does have room to run higher. And if it does push lower, you're going to be having a chance to get in on the stock at a much better price.
Kind of sounds to me like it's a classic catch-22, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, you have the heavy volume gap and impressive gains make it tempting to jump on. But on the other hand, we do have the lingering fear of disappointment if the earnings report doesn't live up. So we'll see what happens. But Palantir's future is undoubtedly one to watch, and we will be bringing you all the latest updates right here at MarketBeat. So please help us out by subscribing to our channel so we can help you out with the latest news. Thanks so much for joining me again today, Chris. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me, Lacey.